What an interesting slate we have in week 9 on Underdog Fantasy. We finally have a bunch of totals over 50. Minnesota and Detroit would be a total over 50 if we thought that JJ McCarthy could play. I mean, go back and look at some of the historical Detroit Lions, Minnesota Vikings games, and you are seeing totals at 53, 53 and a half. Like, it's actually quite insane. 51 and a half with Bears Bengals. What's funny about that is there really are not too many Bears players you want to be drafting. Joe Flacco is actually listed as questionable with an AC joint sprain. No idea if he's going to play. I would guess right now on Thursday, October 30th at 11:30 a.m. in the morning that Flacco probably will play. I would guess that the Bears would probably be favored by more than 3. I would guess they'd probably be favored by 4.5 if Browning plays, but that could definitely be wrong. The Broncos-Texans game is quite interesting. 39.5-point total. But look at the ADPs that we have for Nico Collins. He is wide receiver 11. Then you have Sutton, his counterpart on Denver, who is not being drafted at all. I think that's very interesting because they're very similar archetypes of players, and they are both going to be really low drafted in week 9 BRs. San Francisco and New York. This is another one that's just very interesting and shows the difference between salary cap DFS and battle royale DFS. A 48.5-point total there. I'm kind of interested in 49ers Giants for salary cap DFS over on DraftKings. You guys can go watch Thinking About DFS with Jacob Sanderson if you want some more thoughts there. Tyrone Tracy is going to be super, super chalk in salary cap DFS, but he's not going to be drafted at near the same rate in our underdog BR games. If we go look at where he's at in the ranking right now, he's the running back 13 with an average draft position of 35.2. That would mean he will probably be drafted if you assume 100% is like 30 and above, and you'd have to go check out the DFS masterclass for my friends Pete, John, and Nez to get the real breakdown of that. But I'm going to guess that kind of at max, he's like 33% drafted. I mean, he might be more owned than that in salary cap DFS, so I just think that is very interesting. I also do kind of like the 49ers passing game because the 49ers passing game is not owned at all. Obviously, you have Christian McCaffrey, who's 100%. George Kittle will also be 100% drafted, but Purdy, Jennings, not going to be drafted at all. We'll see if Ricky Pearsall is able to play. He's listed as questionable, but not practicing. I would not take Kendrick Bourne in these games. I would take Juwan Jennings in these games. Jennings probably a little bit better for 12-mans. Of course, the Indianapolis Colts are 3-point favorites on the road in Pittsburgh with a 50.5-point total. I wonder if people realize how bad the Steelers defense has been in our minds. And I tell me if you guys agree with this. Maybe this is just me, but the first thing I think of when I think of the Pittsburgh Steelers is really good defense. They're in the AFC North. They tackle hard. They grind hard. They are a serious fantasy team or a serious football team, but they're really not, right? So the Pittsburgh Steelers have given up 32 points to the New York Jets, 31 points to the Seattle Seahawks. They did beat the New England Patriots, which is kind of impressive. They gave up 21 points to the Carson Wentz Minnesota Vikings. They smashed the Cleveland Browns. They gave up 33 to the Cincinnati Bengals. They gave up 35 to the Green Bay Packers. They have not been beaten through the air. They have been beaten on the ground. And the key issue with their defense is they're just not efficient. They are below league average in yards per carry allowed. And look at this. They are way bad in net adjusted yards per attempt. You would think a team with their defensive quality players would be much better, but they're not. They're 21st in the NFL in net adjusted yards per attempt. And as Mr. Zakabot says, as a Steelers fan, we are not a good defense. I love Colts players this week. I think that Daniel Jones is a standard tier of deviation better than he normally is. One, because they're on the road. And then two, as many Colts fans on social media have noted, this is actually a game that the Colts just kind of, you can feel it in the ethos that this is going to be a game they do not blow their opponents out, that this is going to have to be 4 quarters of football. And we have not gotten very many 4 quarters of football games. In fact, let's go see how many times this year have the Indianapolis Colts had to try on offense until the clock expired. Week 1 against the Dolphins, they gave up. Week 2 against the Denver Broncos, they had to try all 4 quarters there. First game against the Titans, only 3 quarters. They had to try for 4 quarters against the Rams, 3 quarters against the Raiders. I suppose we did get 4 quarters against the Cardinals. I don't remember the play-by-play there. Blowout victory against the Chargers, blowout victory against the Titans. I think that, yes, they did have to try for all 4 quarters against the Arizona Cardinals. That is true. So I do think you can argue that there's actually some upside in even the median projections for the Colts because so much of their distribution is based on playing with the lead. They very well could not be playing with the lead here. The Indianapolis Colts defense is also not very good. The Indianapolis Colts defense has given up they've only given up 14 passing touchdowns and 10 interceptions. That could also be a little bit more about the teams that they have played. The Carolina Panthers and the Green Bay Packers, just a very interesting game because the Packers do not blow anyone out. For a team that is as talented as they are on defense and who has as many playmakers as they do on offense, you would really think, well, gosh, I mean, the Packers should just win this 40-0. But that's not really what they do. They let bad teams hang around. They let the Cleveland Browns hang around. They let every team hang around. The only reason that is interesting for our purposes is that it's very clear from what Dave Canales has said is that Chuba Hubbard is going to go to the bench this week and Rico Dowdle is going to be a starter. Rico Dowdle not really being drafted in our games right now. He is the running back 16 with a 35.6 ADP. That effectively means that's like taking he is a legitimate scroll the F down, to quote my boy John, play as you would this week. I like him obviously a little bit more in the 12-mans, but I do think that he is probably at that ownership a relatively strong click if you believe, as I believe, that just by the nature, the inertia of the way the Green Bay Packers play, that he is going to be allowed to get 20 carries. I guess another thing with Dowdle as well is that even when the Carolina Panthers are down, they are happy to just play their normal conservative offense. We saw this in weeks 1 and 2, where Chuba Hubbard kept getting touches, even though the team was getting absolutely shellacked. Potentially, if the Titans can do anything, the Los Angeles Chargers against the Titans could be a very fantasy-friendly game. There's actually a very funny thing that is happening with the Chargers and the Titans. I don't believe I've ever seen this before, but we have Keenan Allen for 13.9 PPR points, then all the way down to QJ. So you have Keenan, Gadsden, Ladd, and QJ all projecting between 11.5 and 13.5 fantasy points, which is kind of just to some degree throwing your hands up and just saying, who knows? But I do think you probably want to be over-indexed versus the field on Chargers players this week because whoever smashes in the first half is going to be, phenomenally good. We have the Atlanta Falcons and the Patriots. Drake London is questionable. Penix is questionable. We'll see what ends up happening with Ramondre Stevenson. Ramondre did not practice on Wednesday. It's like Trevion Henderson, dude. Are we taking Trevion Henderson as a 5.5-point home favorite? I would say me for sure. I'm drafting Trevion Henderson. If Ramondre gets ruled out, I'm kind of ahead of pace because I like this week's Battle Royale slate so much. But I do think there is probably a reason to be pretty in on the Patriots offense this week. I would say the only game that I am full fading, I'm not taking any of the quarterbacks from Denver and Houston. I have taken Trevor Lawrence already, and I'm a little bit lower on the Rams, particularly Devontae Adams, than the field. Doesn't have anything to do with Adams. I just think that the Rams are going to be very content to run the ball there. Jaguars, Raiders. We have Travis Hunter, who the projections do not like. I would tell you this is one spot where you can ignore the projections. The projections are based partly on what has already happened in games this year. Travis Hunter's coming off his best career game as a receiver. Brian Thomas Jr. is practicing in a shoulder brace. We're going to get into all that stuff later. Suffice to say, the Jacksonville Jaguars Las Vegas Raiders game is awesome for fantasy. These are two bad defenses, two quarterbacks that are willing to take deep shots, even if they're not that good. These are the kind of games that are boring for like real football, because who cares who wins between the Jaguars and the Raiders? I mean, do Jaguars fans even care? Do Raiders fans even care? But we have Bowers with the brace off. We have Ashton Jeanty in an explosion spot. We have ETN as a scroll. We have Brian Thomas Jr. banged up. Travis Hunter maybe is just a full-time 85% route share wide receiver. And both quarterbacks are legitimate scrolls. Saints, Rams, I probably am not, man, am I going to take Olave at all? I probably have clicked him like once or twice, but this is not the spot. The New Orleans Saints have one of the lowest team totals of the entire slate. It's just really poor, 43.5. I will tell you my favorite play from this game is my boy Kyren Williams. You can get him in the third round at like a pretty decent clip. I definitely prefer Kyren to Devontae Adams. No one likes Kyren. No one wants to admit it, but this dude just, look at this game against San Francisco. He can do exactly this. Now, obviously, he's got these games in his range of outcomes. Bad game against Jacksonville, very bad game against Indianapolis, only a mediocre game against Baltimore, when I really liked him against Baltimore as well. But he has one of the most unassailable workloads in fantasy football, and that is just the way she goes. Chiefs, Bills. Wow. Chiefs, Bills. 52 total, maybe 52.5, depending on where you look. What's so funny every single week about the Bills is they just do not have anyone who projects very well for fantasy. Obviously, you have Mahomes, Allen, and Rice, who are awesome. 18.2 points from James Cook. That seems a little bit high for me. James Cook, it is October 30th. James Cook is going to end the month without having caught a pass in October. You might think I'm making that up. You might say, Davis, there's no possible way that's true. James Cook, you loved James Cook last week, Davis. Why would you be pointing this out? I mean, all I'm pointing out to you is the truth. He has 1 target and 0 reception. It seems absurd. I don't know why they would choose to use these guys that way, but that is the way that they have chosen to utilize James Cook. Obviously, Rashee Rice is like an all-time play of play here. Xavier Worthy is a phenomenally good leverage play on second round Rashee Rice. I do think you can take Shakir. I'm not that hip on Coleman. I don't love taking Travis Kelce. I don't love taking Dalton Kincaid. I do think they are both fine. But what do you guys think? What is your guys' favorite game on the main slate? I mean, obviously, I would say the best fantasy game is the Chiefs and the Bills, but you have to have like a high degree of confidence. You have to have a higher degree of confidence than I do in any of the Bills skill position players, which I don't really have. Chargers are probably my second favorite offense to target. I'd rank them this way: Chiefs, Colts, Chargers, Bills. That would kind of be the height of my list. Oh, and then obviously the Detroit Lions. But yeah, what do you guys think about in terms of your favorite games? Something I have not done the last couple weeks that I think is kind of a good idea is just to do an ADP overview. I think that actually, if you've not done a ton of drafts yet, is kind of interesting to just go through like round by round. What is part of your decision matrix? Because it has changed also a little bit since the since the beginning. So the first round is McCaffrey, Taylor, Gibbs, Chase, Puka, and Bijan. Josh Jacobs has fallen out of the first round over the last week. Now, I mean, I don't even think this should be like a hot take at all, but Jonathan Taylor is clearly the 101. No disrespect intended to Christian McCaffrey, but if we're looking at which guys to target, I probably want the guy who is just like going to get a 40. Richard says he likes Giants 49ers. I think Giants 49ers is pretty sneaky. I actually really do think that it is pretty sneaky. I think that a lot of people are going to sidle over that one, but I do think that it is pretty powerful. The second round starts with Jacobs, Rice, St. Brown, Mahomes, Jefferson, and Allen. I don't think I've seen James Cook go that early. I don't think I've seen Kyren go that early. You will see some people take Tyler Warren in the second round, which I think is totally fine. No, we will get to the Kareem Hunt discourse, Chad. Trust me, when we get to the running backs, we will do Kareem Hunt discourse. My favorite second round pick, I mean, this is not going to be surprising, but I'm clicking Rashee here a ton. And normally I go lighter on the quarterbacks in the second round than the field. I think that is wrong this week. I think you really want to be over indexing on Mahomes and Allen. because what? 15% of the time, 20% of the time, this Bills Chiefs games, it goes full Rams Chiefs from 2018 to Mexico City, right? You've got each quarterback has 6 touchdowns. Allen runs for 1. I mean, I don't think it's a huge percentage of the time, but it's way more often than any of the other games. The third round is where we start getting into scroll territory, where I think you can start to disregard ADP with Adams, Vidal, Kraft, Adunze, Ladd, Kittle, May, Swift, Metcalf. Like, basically, once you get to Kyron Williams, this would be my opinion, is once you get to Tyler Warren, that's when your scroll senses should start activating, where you can be like, all right, I'm just going to take Michael Pittman Jr. there. I'm going to take Chase Brown next. I'm going to take Travis Hunter as my wide receiver 2, and I'm going to scroll down and take TJ Hawkinson. Not to say that those are all individual plays, but basically I would consider tier 1 to be McCaffrey and Taylor. I would consider tier 2 to be Jahmyr Gibbs, Chase, Puka, Bijan. I would consider tier 3 to be Jacobs, Rice, St. Brown, Mahomes, Jefferson, Allen, and Kyron. Then after that, everyone's the same. And one of the most helpful things you can do to make yourself better at Battle Royale is to start to mentally identify those tiers and figure out, where are my opponents overdrafting guys and where are my opponents underdrafting guys. In fact, I would basically say that is the entire key of how to win at these draft games. I know it's boring. It doesn't sound very fun. It doesn't lead to guaranteed profits or anything like that. But if you are viewing these games from the high level of, if I were to employ this strategy every single week, and I wanted to tell myself that I am putting winning lineups in these contests, that's all you got to do. My opponents are drafting this player at too high of a rate. My opponents are drafting this player at too low of a rate. And therefore, I'm going to do the opposite of what the field is doing. It feels like Kyron is the play over Vidal, but will he get enough touches? I mean, he's certainly drafted higher, right? Kyron Williams is they're pretty close. I really like both of them. So now let's go ahead and get into the discussion of this week's skeleton keys. I think that obviously we do need to start at the quarterback position. It's going to be a very different way than we have analyzed most of these. Where let's start at the quarterback position. I don't think we've ever done this before, but the skeleton keys are the first 2 quarterbacks drafted. I think you want to, I think that you want to have at least 34% combo ownership of these 2 guys, of Mahomes and Allen. High total game. Patrick Mahomes is first in the NFL in every fantasy football category since Xavier Worthy returned. He's first in fantasy points. He's first in dropbacks. He's first in yards. He's actually first in rushing touchdowns. How about that? Patrick Mahomes is first in rushing touchdowns in games that Xavier Worthy has played. Worthy and Rice being back in this offense has loaded everything up. It's opened up because you can't take the Rashee Rice stuff away, the RPO, the short stuff. You cannot take that away while also taking away the deep stuff. You have to choose. What defenses have done thus far is basically said, all right, well, if Rashee Rice is going to have 10 receptions, that's fine. We will try and beat you in that way. Honestly, if I was a defensive coordinator, I think if someone came to me as a consultant and was like, you know what I'm going to do? I am going to actually I would maybe give them the deep stuff. I think I would try it. I don't know. What would you guys do if you guys were a defensive coordinator, or you got hired as a consultant for a team defending the Chiefs? Would you say, all right, we're going to keep the safeties up. We're going to disguise our coverages really well. We are going to play dime and nickel formations as much as possible. I don't know, man. I feel like they're so good at the Rashee Rice stuff, the Travis Kelce stuff, that I would almost maybe be more annoyed to be beat by Rashee Rice than Xavier Worthy. That's just my opinion. Yeah, I mean, not to say that that may not to say that May is not a good pick, because May is a really, really good pick, but I would not consider him a skeleton key, mostly because I don't like any of the stacking options. Maybe that's an unpopular opinion, but a much easier way to build a lineup. We have 6 spots we have to fill in each individual lineup, right? Well, if you can stack them, that takes away 33% of the lineup. I don't really like, obviously, you can stack with Hunter Henry and you can stack with Diggs. All right, we've got break Mahomes' ankle, make them beat you deep, make Mahomes beat you deep. There you go. Danny also agrees the deep balls have not been fully in tune. If you only rush 4 at Mahomes, you're dead. You're dead. It's over. You can't. You have to. You cannot rush 4 on Mahomes. That's the only strategy I know for a fact will not work against Mahomes, is to only run 4. It's just, it's just the reality of the world that we live in. I also think, I mean, this is not going to be breaking any news here. Like, you guys are smart guys. May is a good play. Herbert is a good play. Jones is a good play. Goff, we're going to get into leverage stacks a little bit later. That's going to be the last thing we do before we hop into a draft. But Jared Goff, very good play. Obviously stacked. I'm not nearly as into Matt Stafford. I don't love Stafford this week, actually. I think this is the second time I've done this, but I am giving Caleb Williams the skeleton key. And I'm giving him the skeleton key for 2 reasons. The first is he actually was kind of close to a good, not even kind of, he was very close to a good fantasy game last week. People hate Caleb Williams. I get it. I get it, guys. No one likes Caleb Williams. He stinks. He's the worst. He takes too long to throw. He turns the ball over all the time, all that stuff. He runs. It's a really, really, really soft matchup, and you are using your opponent's biases against them. That's the big thing. Is you turn your opponents. All the guys that are in these contests we play, they think Caleb sucks. They read the tweets, they see the throw that he missed to DJ Moore, and they go, oh brother, this guy stinks. Rome is questionable. DJ Moore's questionable. Luther Burden's not playing with this guy stinks. Caleb is really, really great for fantasy in games where he gets pushed. And I do think they are going to be pushed. As Garrick says, the thesis is that someone on the Bears is the skeleton key this week. If you don't think it's Caleb, then it's got to be Swift, which doesn't feel incredible despite his recent form, particularly because Manungai is playing a good. Manungai is playing and matters. But if you give Caleb Williams a rushing touchdown, 250 passing yards, it's just a matter of how many touchdowns does he get, right? We know this Bengals defense is giga ass. We don't have to guess about that. That is just clearly 100% true. Obviously, we do kind of need Flacco to play for Caleb. Of course, there is a huge chance that a team without any Kansas City Buffalo players wins. That game ends up 28-21. There is a defensive touchdown, lots of ways. The Bills do not run a concentrated offense at all. If Josh Allen only gets 25, like it's very, very possible for that to happen. Yeah, I mean, Brees. I mean, how about Fields absolutely dicing up the Bengals defense? I mean, Fields had a good game too. So I do really like Caleb Williams. And then I'm going to give it to my boy. I'm going to give it to my boy Brock. As Coolers noted, do we think Purdy plays this week? Think he's a good speculative play while the Mac Jones is the quarterback showing up in all the projections, and no San Francisco quarterback is being drafted. This is basically a hack to developing teams where players are being undrafted due to uncertainty, and were that uncertainty to be removed, then they would be drafted. If Purdy was back, and so if we knew Purdy was healthy, Kittle's back, Jennings is back, McCaffrey's good to go, they're road favorites against the Giants, Purdy would for sure being drafted. Yes. We have had this same Brock conversation, but imagine if he does play, because when he does play, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be good. So our skeleton key's a quarterback. I mean, I'm not breaking any news here. Yeah, Purdy could be out again, but then your swaps are fine. What I did last week was I swapped all of my Lamar and my Purdy teams to Justin Fields. Can't do that this week. I'll be swapping to Jordan Love or Caleb Williams. Jordan Love is like I'm certainly not calling Jordan Love a skeleton key because Matt LaFleur would hate for him to be a skeleton key, but you can click him a little bit. Moving to the running back position. Here's your top skeleton key. Jonathan Taylor over Christian McCaffrey. There's your first one. Kyron Williams over James Cook. Very easy. Kamani Vidal as a super mega high-end target. My God, man. You really, really want to get Kamani Vidal this week. If Kamani Vidal, I've said this like 6 times already, but if Kamani Vidal was a year 2, 47th overall pick from the University of Tennessee, who had one really good game on national TV against LSU, people would be falling all over themselves to get Kamani Vidal. They'd be trading for him in Dynasty. They'd be taking his anytime touchdown. They would be so happy to play Kamani Vidal. Vidal is coming off back-to-back games of 19. He did suck against Indianapolis. 21 points against Miami, 19 points against Minnesota. I honestly am not holding that Indianapolis game against them. They just threw about a bazillion times in that game. Vidal is, to me, an absolute smash. Now, do whatever you want. You guys are all smart, young, independent people. I really like Swift, obviously. Yes. What if Kamani Vidal was the 38th overall pick out of Ohio State to a winning football team? Think about it. The Trevion Henderson discourse. I should have never sent that tweet about Trevion Henderson. Swift is good. Genty's good. I'm not gonna call either of them a skeleton key. The projections actually do not love Ashton Genty for whatever that is worth. I was a little bit surprised by this, but looking at the projections, Genty is down worse than Tyrone Tracy, 14.75. I also not crazy on Chase Brown. Chase Brown is in a legitimate 50-50 timeshare with Samaj Pirine. Like no jokes, no cap, a legitimate 50-50 timeshare with Samaj Pirine. Even against the Bears, that does not make me feel warm. This is the last 2 weeks. 58% of snaps, 40% of the rushes, 55% of the rushes for Chase Brown, 38% for Pirine. I'm not loving it. For Chase Brown, which is not to say you can't play him, but I am not super hip on that. I think Tyrone Tracy obviously is great. I think ETN is great. Here is the discourse about one Mr. Kareem Hunt. This is for my boy Chad Candles. First off, you guys tell me. How many touches for Brashard Smith this week? How many touches for Brashard Smith against the Buffalo Bills? You guys tell me. I'm very curious your thoughts. What I will say for my part is that Kareem Hunt is both the goal line rusher. He has 67% of the team rushes inside the 5-yard line for the Kansas City Chiefs. But not only does he get all the inside the 5 rushes, he's also the long down and distance back. First off, Brashard Smith has played more long down and distance, which is interesting. Chad says 9 Brashard touches, game dependent. 10 to 12 of the Chiefs play catch up, 4 to 6 if they're controlling. That sounds about right to me. Hunt is probably a little bit better of a click in the 12-mans. Because I don't know what I don't know is what are the odds that he gets to like 25. I feel pretty good about his ability to get like 15. You're going to see Kareem Hunt get 15 points here a lot. The tricky part is that basically the Chiefs don't run the ball enough. Like if you don't run the ball enough, it's just very hard to get to the requisite volume there. I would consider, these to be like my core targets: Taylor, Kyron, Vidal, Tracy, and ETN relative to way they're no. This rush, you come back to me, Mahomie 30. You come back to me rushing for. Yes, sure. Yeah, okay. Yes, if you have 4 perfect pass rushers who can get constant pressure on Pat with 4, then sure, I guess that will work. Let me raise another point here, which is that Ramondre Stevenson, back-to-back games of 14 rushes, 18 rushes, and 13 rushes, is questionable. If this dude plays, I mean, it doesn't bring me any joy to say this. In fact, it brings me the inverse of joy. It brings me great sadness to report this. But Ramondre is a good click against the Atlanta Falcons if he plays. If he doesn't play, this actually does bring me great joy to report. You definitely want to be clicking Trevion Henderson, because the only other alternative would be for them to do this. Dearness Johnson, Terrell Jennings. It really does not feel like that is going to work out well. I mean, honestly, I think you can take Henderson now in some of the stuff. I would not be clicking any of these other guys in 6-mans, but the position is deep because Warren is clickable, Tracy's clickable, ETN is, Hunt is, Dowdle is. Honestly, David Montgomery, do we get a repeat of the Cincinnati game? It's probably too hard for him to get there. Nick is saying, as one of the biggest Patriots fans I know, that he's not clicking any Patriots running back. May is going to be slinging. Man, if the Chiefs elevate Eli Mitchell and give him more touches than Kareem Hunt or than Brashard Smith this week, it's gonna be down bad time for the Slapperoonskis. All right, so Jonathan Taylor ahead of McCaffrey, Kyron ahead of Cook, Kamani Vidal is a clear target, Tyrone Tracy is a clear target, Travis Etienne Jr. I know Travis Etienne Jr. stinks. I know he just had his 2 worst efficiency games of the season. I know he has not had more than 7 points in the month of October, but it's the Las Vegas Raiders. And yes, this is basically the key point, is that you can always just Q tag Ramondre into Henderson if he is out. Brashard gets the touches we want in the passing game. Yes, that is true, but it's a half PPR website and you need TUDs. It's the only way to get there is TUDs. So that is what I think is like a fairly deep look at the running back position this week. I think that it's relatively in depth. Now let's pull up the wide receivers, because wide receiver, as always, is deep of guys that you could theoretically click, but you don't necessarily want to. Obviously, Rashee Rice, huge skeleton key. Rashee Rice is averaging 22.5 fantasy points per game over his most recent 5 games. That's since the beginning of the 2024 season. If you go back to after the bye week of his rookie year, he is averaging over 18 fantasy points per game. He basically is Michael Thomas. No one believes that Rashee Rice is like better than Justin Jefferson. No one believes Rashee Rice is a, quote, better player than, I don't know, Devontae Adams or whatever. But what everyone should believe is that the Kansas City Chiefs are basically just designed to get him fantasy points. The best low entry fee contest on Underdog to dip into the contest type. So it is not like DraftKings where high contest players are boxed out. But what you will find is the limiting factor for guys on Underdog Moneto is time. And so because of the time concept, if you play in this contest right here, if you play in the Wildcat, you will not be facing the high volume players, because the high volume players do not draft in the $3 entry 8K to first contest. You'll see me in there because I am disgusting and I am just a sicko for the volume, but it is a good contest. Yeah. That would be a good contest. That is 150 max. If you want another one, this contest, where is it? There is another one. The $20 3 max is also a pretty good idea. If you like that one is a 3 entry max. The Engage 8 and the Hurry Up as well. This is a 20 entry max. It costs $3 to enter, and you won't see You won't see a ton of pros in there. You might see some of them. Yeah, the hurry up is what it's called, and that is pretty good for beginning players in my experience. I had a good team in the hurry up last week. I finished 10th in the hurry up, so shout out to me for that one. You guys are all smart and intelligent, though. You do not need me to explain why Rashee Rice is a good play. Obviously, Justin Jefferson as a second round pick, sometimes even a third round pick, just like unbelievably good. I actually do think Nico Collins this week. I think this is the first time that I believe this is the first time I have even been on Nico Collins in one of these slates, and we're in week 8. But Nico Collins is projected higher than Rome, higher than Devontae, higher than Tet, higher than Olave, higher than Keenan, higher than Diggs, higher than BTJ in the Run the Sim stuff. No Patrick Surtain the second for the Denver Broncos this week. The squib kick is a great contest. I like the squib kick. 112 entry max. $3, 12 entry drafts, really nice. I agree that the Devontae is too high. Not to say, I kind of play like a coward, so I'm not always drafting these guys, but or not always fading these guys. But I'm not super hip. I am assuming that the playoff best ball contest will open in week 10. So after this week, I'm assuming we will get the first way too early. I believe they call it the way too early playoff wild card contest will be out. Xavier Worthy. I mean, you guys. I understand. I'm the boy who cried wolf here, but he has leverage on Rashee Rice. He is a stacking partner with the highest projected quarterback, and his route rates are just really strong. I mean, he leads the team. He leads the team in routes, even since Rice got back, running 81% of the routes on the team, 17% of the targets. Yeah. Can't wait to draft Brashard Smith in the 5th with Mahomes 101. We are so close to being back, my friend. I am betting the baby call comes 10 minutes before the start of Kansas City Buffalo in a true Murphy's Law moment. Oof. Aaron, when he comes, brother. We can't possibly be mad about the call coming, right? We're gonna be happy and we're gonna be joyous about it. And imagine Aaron, my son, being born as Xavier Worthy scores a touchdown. I mean, that's the type of beautiful stuff that you can't even possibly script. So we got Rashee, Jefferson, Nico. These guys are all strong. I actually think that Travis Hunter is going to fall in ADP a little bit because the projections are all out now. The projections are not super big on him. But Travis Hunter just had his best fantasy game, 14 targets, 8 receptions, 101 yards, 20 fantasy points. Our boy Brian Thomas Jr. practicing with a brace, legitimately injured with his shoulder. A harness. You're telling me a guy who already is struggling with very, very low dog levels has a harness on his shoulder? I'm sorry, bro. I'm taking Travis. I'm taking Travis Hunter. Some people are saying it's Eli Mitchell season. I hope those people aren't me. Got offered Walker, London, Amon-Ra for Kyron. You just always want the best player in a trade. So I would want the Amon-Ra, or I would want the Rice side of that. Yeah, his name is Patrick Xavier. That's the baby's name, Adrian Patrick Xavier. It's not actually his real name, but I think that is what I'm gonna say on the streams. Hunter, I think, is super strong. I think this is actually one of our very few chances in fantasy football to buy before the thing happens. Like, basically in fantasy football, the issue is you always have to buy after the thing has already happened. And once the thing has already happened, the price becomes so much more expensive, right? Well, this is one of your few chances. Like, if Travis Hunter has 20 points again this week, what is his ADP going to be next week? Your chance of getting rational and reasonable exposure to Travis Hunter is over. Guys, I am clicking Jordan Addison, Jameson Williams for sure. Tedroy McMillan, I've clicked a couple times. QJ, I don't love because he's being replaced by Trey Harrison wide receiver sets. Hayden Winks had this great graphic that showed that basically in one wide receiver stuff, Quentin Johnson is never playing. He basically does not exist to his team. GoAZ Cards has mentioned Juwan Jennings. Yes, if Purdy plays, we definitely like Jennings, and I think he's probably fine anyway. I can't do Keon Coleman. I can't do Christian Watson in 6-mans. I do think Shaheed in 12-mans is good, and we'll get more into 12-man strategy at the end. But we have got, for the skeleton keys at wide receiver, we have Rashee Rice, Justin Jefferson, Nico Collins, Xavier Worthy, and Travis Hunter. It is a slap week. Very simply, I would rather do Mahomes with Worthy just for combinatorial ownership reasons. The combo ownership of Mahomes Kelsey is going to be a lot higher than it is with Mahomes Worthy, just because of the way the positional distribution stuff works. All right, now the tight end position. What's so interesting this week is these dudes are all bunched up in terms of projection. Kittle, Warren, Kraft, Gadsden. You got some real jokers in here. I will tell you this. This Run the Sims projection on Brock Bowers. Thumbs down, runthesims.com. Thumbs down, runthesims.com. You guys need to improve your Brock Bowers rate because it ain't right. Your only skeleton key this week. We're actually gonna make it short and sweet here. Bowers is who you want. You probably at this price want to have 35% of Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers is far and away the best tight end in fantasy when he's healthy. He doesn't have the brace on. They're in the dome. It's a very good matchup against Jacksonville. It is just, I actually don't really understand how this is the ADP. I don't get it. Sure. I mean, Tyler Warren's good. Tucker Kraft is good. Kittle's good. Gadsden's good. I will be a little bit below market on all of those guys. Like, not to say, I mean, let's see if we can, I will actually pull up I'll pull up my exposures because I've actually done a good bit of drafts already this week. I've already done 109 drafts this week. And let's pull up my exposures and see if we can do the real skin in the game answer or not. Well, no, they're just not done doing projections yet. There are a lot of inputs left to be done. So I have done 109 drafts. I've taken Brock Bowers on 38.5% of them. I've taken Mahomes on 31%. I've taken Jonathan Taylor on 31%. Vidal on 30%, Jefferson on 27%, Rice on 25%. Now, the reason why my exposures are all really high like this is because I drafted a ton very early in the week. It's going to be harder to get these exposures. I, of course, when we did the members only stream on Tuesday, I pointed out, just how bad the average draft position was and why it was such an important week to draft early. Not to say you can't still be drafting right now, but it is a good reminder to be a subscriber to the channel, to spend $5 a month to, obviously support the channel, but obviously, I know a lot of theory about these games. Putting it into practice is a little bit tougher, but the tight end position is definitely Brock Bowers' most important guy. Kincaid as a scroll is fine. Pitts as a scroll is fine. Warren and Dimes, Kraft and Love, Kittle and Purdy, Gadsden and Herbert. These are all awesome. Oh, this is actually a really good question. We'll do the perfect draft, and then we will do the top leverage stacks, and then we will get in the rooms. But I actually like this as a way to talk about it from a strategy perspective of like what you're trying to accomplish in a given draft. And yes, as Scott notes, naming all this tight end seems like waiting to the last round to get one is the play. The issue is you don't always want to be stuck waiting for Kelsey. That's really the only, and not to say that Kelsey is a bad pick, but you could end up getting, 30% of Travis Kelsey, which in my opinion, I don't really think that you want. Okay. So the perfect draft, very interesting. I guess I would start with Jonathan Taylor. I would get, perfect, truly perfect draft. I guess I'll do a real perfect draft that's kind of reasonable, and then a perfect draft that you could get every time at ADP. So it would be to do Taylor, get a little Rice fall, you get Patrick Mahomes, you get Kamani Bydell, you get Brock Bowers, and then you tack on one of Nico, London, or Travis Hunter. Now, let's call it Travis Hunter. So this obviously I think would be the perfect team. Taylor, Rice, Mahomes, Vidal, Bowers, Travis Hunter. I am relatively certain that I have one of these already in the portfolio. At least I hope I do, because that is the, objectively perfect team. This would be one that you could get basically 100% of the time. So I would start with Puka Nacua. I would follow that up with Rashee Rice. I would add in Kyron, or, for team reasons, let's do Vidal. Then I would do Ginty sometimes, or I would do Tyrone Tracy or ETN sometimes. Then I would toss in, of course, Brock Bowers. And this is what becomes tough is, okay, well, what quarterback do you take here? Because you don't want to take Stafford 100% of the time. So you could do Daniel Jones for the leverage here. You could do Jordan Love. Or here you go. You could literally draft this team every draft if you wanted. Yes, this is basically you try to get the elite running back plus Mahomes and Rice, and you keep getting 1 to 2 picks short. Neither Keon Coleman nor Khalil Shakir have had a high enough score anytime this year. Maybe Coleman week 1. But basically, neither of them have come close to the 25 points needed to be in a winning lineup. Sad, but it's true. It's just the way she goes. So you could draft this team every single draft if you wanted. You could do Puka Nacua, Rashee Rice, Kamani Vidal, Tyrone Tracy, Brock Bowers, Caleb Williams. I mean, that is, I suppose I wouldn't call that perfect, but it's pretty damn good. It's really kind of hits all the elements of things that you want. So some of the top leverage stacks. So these would be, basically guys a little bit deeper down the board. You've got Goff and Laporta that I think is going to be way underdrafted. You have got Caleb Williams with anyone. Call it Loveland. We could even call it Rome if you want. I think that one is pretty reasonable. You have Jordan Love. I guess Jordan Love probably you don't want to do stacked near as much. You have got Purdy and Jennings, which is just mega giga leverage. You have Lawrence with Hunter, and that is some very nice leverage. Do you guys have any big leverage stacks that you like? Kind of obviously some harder ones to get, but if we're looking at the top leverage stacks, I guess some of the other ones is you talk about the expensive quarterbacks and you talk about how to get. So I guess you could do Herbert and QJ. That would be legitimate leverage. You could do, Mahomes and Worthy would obviously be one of those. I don't think DJ and Pittman is leverage. I think DJ and Pittman is actually probably trending a little bit more towards being chalky. You could do Allen and Coleman. Wow. Tetanus strike is coming down hard. JJ McCarthy, who did have 23 points against the Bears. He already has had a score this year for fantasy that is good. JJ to JJ, I mean, they are saying it more and more. I don't know, man. I I just do not love clicking Keon Coleman. Yeah. Minnesota is, I was saying this to Jacob earlier, but if the Vikings got to trade for Sam Darnold for this game, what would the total of this game be? I mean, it would probably be 55 or whatever. It would be giga mega. It would be beyond extreme. So there we go. So that is what I think is a pretty exhaustive look at how to play these draft games this week. And now let's go ahead and let's go and test our logic in the room. I really do not have many of these left to do, which I kind of like. I got ahead of the pace this week, and I was happy to do it. Yeah, Caleb and Moore. I know it's gross. Caleb Moore did almost score a touchdown last week, so shout out to him for almost scoring a touchdown. Jefferson averages 120 yards per game. Yeah, Purdy, you know ball, T Cage. I mean, I get why you would want to take Coleman this week. All right, we are drafting out of, so this is what happens when you don't get Jonathan Taylor. I honestly don't love clicking Chase if Browning is going to be his quarterback. If Browning is going to be his quarterback, I feel like we're actually probably going to kind of have a bad time. But, I don't really know if there's anything to be done about it. Purdy and Kittle. I mean, Purdy and Kittle is a really good one. All right. Let's do it, boys. Nico Stroud is my donation of choice. Man. I know Stroud was good last week, but man. Yeah, I think that if we have confirmation that Jake Browning is starting, I do think Puka will clearly go ahead of Chase in ADP. Herbert Gadsden. Herbert Gadsden is really good, but is not leverage at all. Gibbs, Amon-Ra, JJ, tight end, JJ. Ooh, you can very easily get that. Yeah, too. Yeah. Whenever I start the music, the microphone always messes up. It's a StreamYard issue, not a my microphone issue. Is the microphone back now? Normally it figures itself out. You know what? Let's even just do a Puka over Chase here. Puka over Chase. Wow, love Watson. I'm so ready for AOC. Are you? I feel like you might be misremembering that one, Michael. Naked Dart, Capri. This fucking. All right. I guess we can't have night driving. We're not allowed to have nice things. Wow, here we go. Davis, test your theory, bro. Mahomes. That also saves us from having to do Puka. I guess that's true. I guess it is true that he did pump Bowers to tight end 1. They did get rid of the probable tag, didn't they? Why is he listed? I didn't even realize that, Sando. Have to tell Silva to chill on the Bajent talk. Man. Goff, JMO. JMO is mega leverage this week. I completely agree with that. Josh McDaniels on the team's running back depth and the potential of adding more to the position. I think we have all the answers we need. Does that sound true to you guys? Because it doesn't sound true to me. Although, what do I know? All right. So when you have Puka and Mahomes, the thing that is so nice is that you can kind of just take, if there is like a real obvious value, like if we get Tyler Warren here, I will be happy to take Tyler Warren here. Although I don't want, okay, well, never mind. We're not going to get him anyway. What I don't want is you never want too many of your combinations to be with the same players. Oh, JJ Taylor. Is he still on the team? Is JJ Taylor still a Patriot? Be kind of crazy. Puka and Mahomes. So this is, I know that this is a spot where I have a lot of combinations of this already. So I'm actually not going to take Kamani Vidal here because I have about a billion combos of these same players. I'm going to take George Kittle and just know I could be tracking my own combos. No, Cook Mahomes is certainly not dead. Certainly not. Have you updated your wife's fantasy teams for this week? My wife doesn't have any, sadly. All right, there we go. Flacco is practicing. Bang bang. So Joseph Flacco, good to go. Dart Slayton. I probably know Slayton for me. If Minnesota Detroit is not a close game, would Monty be a good click? Yes. Yeah, Monty would be very good. Yes. As Corey notes, I had a billion JT Henry last week. Combos are so vital. Yes, they are. Wow. All right. Don't get Bowers on this. I guess I have Kittle anyways. So I need a running back. Let's do, you know what? We don't have Bowers on this team. Let's take my boy Ashton Jeanty. If Buffalo gets there through Cook, Mahomes is not good enough. That could be true. That could be true. I can't believe we're not getting Hampton back until after week 13. Well, it's brutal for Hampton, but it is good for us this week with Kamani Vidal. Yes, the Patriots officially signed Dearness Johnson, which is probably not great for the availability of Ramondre, or it means that Dearness Johnson is going to be elevated over Terrell Jennings, and that Terrell Jennings is not actually their 5-minute drill back. All right, what are we going to do next? So we have Puka, Mahomes, Kittle, and Jeanty. So I guess what I have to decide is, do I want to do another Xavier Worthy team, or do we have this be a naked Mahomes team? Jeanty. Honestly, I don't actually really know what the correct pronunciation is. I feel like the Swift Jeanty combo is way higher than it needs to be. Oh, you know what? We're gonna take Tyrone Tracy as a bring back. Here's a question: how often would you say you're stacking Mahomes teams? Probably about 75% of the time. So hopefully the largest chunk when I'm done drafting, all said and done, is Mahomes Rice, followed by Mahomes Worthy, followed by Mahomes Kelsey. Probably with Mahomes Kelsey and Mahomes naked. Like I'm gonna do Mahomes solo on this one. And I'm gonna add in, you know what? I'm actually gonna add in T. Higgins. I did not talk about T. Higgins, but sooner or later, one of these teams is just going to decide we're not getting beat by this guy. I don't know when it's going to be. I don't know who it's going to be, but one of them is going to do it. Kareem Hunt is an ageless wonder. T. Higgins. Yeah, but I think it's fine to do this. I think it is totally fine to do Mahomes Rice at 6-7. I think it's completely okay. Yeah, Brashard is for sure going to get more work this week. Yeah, without question. Brashard is going to see. I would guess Brashard plays about 35% of the offensive snaps this week. Probably gets 4 targets, probably gets 6 rushes. Any data on Mahomes being optimal on underdog main slates? Well, I'm sure it all is terrible because for a majority of the existence of underdog daily games, Mahomes has been a bad fantasy quarterback. So the issue with quarterbacks dropping an ADP is that what happens is the ADP ends up being based off of what the ETR sheet says that they should be. And the ETR sheet actually has Mahomes ranked ahead of ADP. The ETR Battle Royale cheat sheet has Mahomes ranked at 9th overall and has Josh Allen ranked at 14th overall. Oh, of course. We love the Keaton missile tonight. All right. Team number 1. Patrick Mahomes, Ashton Genty, Tyrone Tracy, Puka Nacua, T. Higgins, and George Kittle-Reno. Let's do a 12-man. We basically talked about every single player on the slate. Let's hop into a Dawg Bowl qualifier, and let's find ourselves a winner. I hope we get a good draft slot. Or we'll just do a Mahomes Rice. You know, what can go wrong? Charbonnet or Brashard. See, I think I would do. I guess I haven't done my weekly rankings yet. That's always what I do after this video. Yeah, Sharbs or Brashard this week. I am going. I guess I would go Brashard. He's got a way better ceiling. All right, let's fill up this old DBQ, boys. The Dawg Bowl qualifier. And let's find ourselves a shipper. You know, let's just get that dub. Any reasonable chance the Indianapolis-Pittsburgh game turns into a 60-point explosion? Absolutely. Yeah, those are 2 very bad defenses. 2 very bad defenses, and the Colts can turn any game into a massive explosion. What are the odds that that this game tonight is a reasonably competitive game, by the way? What do we think? All right, weird. Ooh, a 101. The gods are smiling on us. Yeah, Pittsburgh just had a 60-point game against the Green Bay Packers. That's basically what they do. You know? Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say highly likely. The total is whatever, 48.5. So 2 extra touchdowns. One thing I will say is that totals are just going up a lot in the NFL right now because teams are going for it more than ever. Wow, Jonathan Taylor. Speaking of a 40-point extravaganza, Jonathan Taylor 1.1. Patrick Barnes YouTube always in there. We've got Len Keith, Randers, fully loaded, Tyler C 192. That's my boy T Cage in chat. We've got Patrick Barnes YouTube, Tyler Tubbinus. We got Visser. We got Kenny the Jet, J Dubs 1035, and my boy Go AZ Cards. Yeah, going for it, getting less first downs for touchdowns. Do bad teams play 2 games in a row? I don't think the Steelers are not a bad team, right? They're just not a great team. The true Skelly Key God, can you imagine? Can you imagine a true RJ Harvey slate? I still can't believe he scored 3 touchdowns on 6 non-garbage time touchdowns. Man, I am very excited for Lamar Jackson to return tonight. I guess, is it 100% confirmed that he is returned tonight? I'd guess he's probably still listed as questionable. What am I expecting on the turn? I mean, honestly, nothing great. I'm expecting it to basically be kind of bad picks. I would love to get. I guess I would like to get Bowers, and I'd like to get like London would be good. I would definitely take Jalen Warren there. ETN I think is clickable there. The issue you find anytime in these 12-man drafts is you kind of always hate one of your positions, and the position that you like to hate the most is quarterback because it ends up being the least important. How bad is fading Lamar on the showdown slate? I mean, basically showdown from a game theory perspective is actually very similar to BRs, where it's all about the rate of what your opponents are doing and not really so much about your lineup itself. Like the projected points of your lineup does not matter that much overall. You know, it just doesn't really matter. I think we could see Keaton go nuts tonight if the Ravens are really way up. I mean, Bowers Hunter would be super slappy. I think it's maybe I'll do that at the next turn. That might be very fun. I tell you who I don't like tonight, Jalen Waddle. Wow, Chase Brown is a second-round pick. How many Rice BBM teams do you have advancing? I don't think any. But I don't have very many teams advancing in general. I only have 18 teams advancing, I think. Rashee Rice. I have right now one team advancing, one team 3 points behind, another team 26 points behind, 13 points behind, 72 points behind. So these are all probably dead. Maybe this team is good. I don't know. Hard to say. Hope we find a winner in there, though. Wow. Still have the missile on Elims. It's not anything about, I actually have always kind of been a pro Waddle guy, but I think that the field is thinking that this is the same terrible Ravens defense, and their distributions are, they're actually, Ben Solak had this great thread on Twitter today about how the Ravens are using Kyle Hamilton. They're like kind of do it all safety in a meaningfully different way. All right, we're up in 2 picks. All right, we are going to do Tracy for one of these. And we're actually going to give ourselves a scroll at tight end. And I am going to select. Actually, you know what? No, I'm not. Brock Bowers. It's time to believe in something. Yeah, Waddle has always been good. My picking on Waddle has never been about him. But I do think in large field GPP tonight, the angle is getting as many 5-1 Ravens teams as possible. I think you also want to get some Henry, Keaton Mitchell teams in. And also, Mark Andrews has 3 times the targets of Likely since Likely's return from injury. So the field is going to be underrating Andrews' ceiling here. Also, Greg Dulcich is back. You believe in something. How do I feel about Dart on this slate? So I think it's an interesting question. Dart is not excelling as a passer right now. His time to throw is really high, but he also has a really high pressure to sack ratio. So when you have a really high time to throw and a really high pressure to sack ratio, what that means is you're just hanging in the pocket too long. You were just holding and holding and holding the ball. And it's not good for you. And I'm not even saying it's 100% his fault, but it does mean that in any game where Brian Daboll stops using him like a battering ram, that his fantasy ceiling is going to be really low. Feel like Tyrone Tracy going to disappoint everyone. I mean, Tyrone Tracy is going to be like huge chalk, so I hope he doesn't. I don't even think the stats look that bad. His like per attempt stuff. I wonder where he's at in EPA per play. I bet he's pretty decent. Where do we think Jackson Dart is at? DeAndre Hopkins' first touchdown. I don't know, brother. Quarterbacks minimum 144 plays. I bet he's higher than you'd think in EPA per play. Yeah. 0.17 EPA per play, better than Stroud, better than Herbert, better than Rodgers, right in that same territory with Stafford, better than Bo Nix, better than Mayfield. He's a good player. Dart is a very good player. Dart is my most drafted player in our most drafted quarterback in best ball. I agree with this, actually. I don't think enough has been made about Dart playing the Eagles, not Eagles, Broncos, Eagles. Yeah. 22% Cook, 0% Rice. Oh, yeah. I don't think there's, if we did a draft right now, Rashee Rice would be a first round pick. For sure. Wait, he has played the Eagles twice? That's true. I guess that's true. I don't know why I thought that wasn't true, but it is true. All right. My wide receivers on this team are gonna suck. Tyler snapped off Travis Hunter. Man, I am dead at wide receiver. Reverse shout out to me. Not loving that. Shanahan was gassing Dart up, as he should, man. Would Cook be a first rounder? I guess he probably would. I don't know. I would much rather have, because no wide receivers are scoring points and there are 10 running backs who are scoring points. I have taken Lawrence a couple times in 6-mans. Not losing my mind about it. But okay, what are we going to do next here? Yeah, he should have beat the Broncos. All right, we are up in 2 picks. I think I've got an angle. It's probably not a very good one, but it is an angle. I'm going to take Jordan Addison and Jameson Williams and then queue up McCarthy. McCarthy is an undrafted player in 12-mans in that game environment. Don't know if it's good, but we're doing it. We're going to take Jordan Addison. We're going to take Jameson Williams. We are, okay, Goff is available and McCarthy is available. So whichever one we get. Immediate tomatoes. Immediate tomatoes from the crowd. could have. Tet's fine. I kind of like the game theory there. Not the game theory. I kind of like the game stack. But I do think tonight the Ravens are going to smoke the Dolphins with Lamar's return. And as Derrick Henry is 31 years old, the second half is going to belong to the player who led the NFL in rushing yards over expectation in 2023. Do you guys know that's true? Oh, this draft just got deleted from my active. Oh no, is the app bugging right now? Pull it up on your computer, Ty. Pull it up on your computer. You still got time. Yeah, well. Not every JT team can be a winner. Oh, it's gone on both. So am I going to be dusted? Am I not going to be able to get in any more drafts? Is that it for me? See, Frog Clone says this is A+. Frog Clone says it's A+. I think that what I'm gonna do tonight on Run the Sims is I'm gonna do like a +5 for Keaton Mitchell's projection. No problems. Oh my God, Chad. Do you guys know Chad is like the hottest guy on the Dawg app right now? This dude, what, Chad, didn't you just win you won weekly winners and a Dog Bowl Q seat on the same weekend? Oh no, what did they stick Ty with? Oh, Keenan Allen. Not loving that for you, brother. Not loving that for you. Keaton, no, I would not do Keaton over K9 because it looks like it's probably going to be Mariota again. I think that Zay Flowers could be the highest scoring player of the slate. Man, what a sweat, dude. What a sweat. That is, shout out to you, man. That is very impressive playing in a 24-hour period. Yeah, Keaton, Chris Johnson, Mitchell. That's what they're saying. They're saying it more and more. Quan said the plan was Jaden going to practice in full. Oh, okay. All right. Man, Commanders NFC Conference Championship last year. What are the Commanders' odds to make the playoffs right now? They've looked so bad with Mariota in their most recent 2 games. NFL futures make the playoffs. The Commanders are plus 390 to make the playoffs right now. The Tennessee Titans are 100-1 to make the playoffs. So just a bit outside. All right. We did not get Goff, but we did get JJ McCarthy. JJ McCarthy, Jonathan Taylor, Tyrone Tracy, Jordan Addison, Jameson Williams, and Brock Bowers. Don't know if that was wrong there. Would you have gone Stafford or Goff with my team? I mean, I just like Goff a little bit more. Yeah, with Montgomery and Laporte, I think you got to go Goff. I think that's better. Almost did a Knicks Franklin backsack. Yeah, McLaurin not playing again. Yes, it's just not their season. The important thing is there was a full 20 minutes this week where Terry McLaurin was merely a poor round 3 best ball pick. I did get at least one thing right in fantasy football this year, which is that McLaurin was a bad round 3 pick. Would you be selling Isaiah Davis in Dynasty? I think no. What's the point? You probably got Isaiah Davis for a 4th round rookie pick. I mean, sure, if someone wants to give you a second, sure. If someone wanted to give you a second, but I mean, come on, no one's going to give you a second. All right. Let's go do the Flea flicker. Do we think we can fill it, or is the app going to be too glitchy? Is it gonna mess up on me? 2 for the Flea flicker. 2 for the Flea flicker. NFC is stacked. Which of Green Bay, Detroit, Philadelphia, Tampa Bay, Los Angeles, Seattle? Probably Seattle, right? I don't know. Let's see what the odds are. So, can I not scroll? All right. So, NFC teams, you've got Tampa Bay is a lock. Seattle is basically a lock. 49ers are basically a lock. Eagles are a lock. Vikings are really outside looking in. Rams are a lock. So 3 teams are priced at like a 70% probability to get in. Looks like the Cowboys. Well, no. I think all those teams get in, right? Those are the teams that get in. And then the winner of the NFC South. Oh, one of them has to miss. Is that right? 7 teams. Green Bay, Detroit, Philadelphia, Tampa Bay, Rams, Seattle. Okay. Yeah, it would be, I guess one of those teams can't get in. I guess if I had to guess right now, Seattle. I don't think the Cowboys are sneaking in. Cowboys are pretty bad. Oh, yeah, they all get in. No room for Washington. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, all those can make it at 7 now. I was not thinking of Tampa Bay as being an NFC South team. I don't know why. I guess I'm used to the NFC South always being like the worst team to get in. But this year it won't be. No, I guess normally it is. Dude, can you imagine the Cowboys with an elite pass rusher? All right. 2 more, boys. Let's knock this one out. This is a very fun contest. $2,000 first place, only 144 entrants. And I'd like to find a shipper. This is one that I really enjoy entering. And I like the 12 mans. Honestly, okay, let me toss this one out to you guys. What would you do if 1 week they turned the main BR into 12 mans? Would you like that? Just for 1 week, they turned the main 6-man BR, $40,000 to first place, but they did that as a 12-man. I think that would be cool to do it for 1 week. Same payout structure. I guess you cut the entries in by 50%. Would be kind of sick, right? I think it would be cool. I would be pretty into that. Cuz the 6-mans are such theory fest, and it's not to say that I don't like the theory and doing all that stuff, but Oh, honestly, yeah, this is it. Yeah. The drafts would take too long. They would. I didn't think about that. But yeah, Dylan, you're right. The drafts would take forever. You'd be sitting there all day. Did not, yeah, because I guess like I go like walk my dog for like an hour and I can knock out in an hour, I can knock out like 40. Yeah, they would only ever do it post dog bowl. Would be so sick though. I guess it's one of those things where don't mess with something that is working, and what they're doing right now is clearly working. Yeah, it'd be big board season. Now that we have a taste of the season, what week 17 games do you wish you had more of? Well, I definitely wish I had less of Minnesota and Detroit because I thought that JJ McCarthy would be good. JJ McCarthy is not good, so that is an issue. I guess I wish I had a little bit less of Giants Raiders because Malik Neighbors tore his ACL. Ooh, maybe I don't know. I feel like other than that, yeah, Dolphins Bucks, but Tyreek tore his ACL. Mike Evans is out for the year. What I wish is I wish I would have avoided more dead players. That's what I wish. Bobby, I have a golden retriever puppy. Not even a puppy. She's 18 months old. Named Murphy. She's a very very good dog. When we start this draft, just know that I have my strategy since Monday night, and I'm drafting my vibes. All right. Well, hey, we need two more. We need two more people who are willing to saddle up. I'll post it in Discord right now. Packers playoff schedule, Chicago, Denver. Oh yeah. Well, Denver is still kind of daunting, but Chicago and Baltimore are really appealing. I do not wish that I had any more of Christian Watson. I feel totally comfortable with my decision to be light on Christian Watson. Christian Watson returning to football play before Brandon Ayuk, not something I predicted, and I think I feel okay with it. I think it basically is what it is. All right, here we go. We got it filled up. How many heroes do we have? We have Wells 1326. We got Hefty. We got my boy Eggers. We got Patrick Barnes YouTube. Of course we do. We have T Gill 1790. We have Best Ball Mania 5 winner Elgrew 50. We have my boy Go AZ Cards. We got GBB 12. We have Mr. Goat Horns T Box, Kobe Goat 2424, and Poppins J. Ooh, great question. When is the last time Jefferson has been on a winning BR team? It's got to have been ages. Has to have been absolute ages. Wouldn't have been any time last year, I don't think, because I think that he didn't have any explosion game big enough. Was this on the main slate? Was 10 for 144 and 2 in week 16? Was that on the main slate last year? I do not remember. It was on Sunday. Yeah, so it would have been week 16 last year. You know what? Let's go pull it up. Let's pull up the week 16 BR from last season. That'll be I never mind the trip down memory lane. All right, we're picking at 11 on this one. Not nearly as appetizing in the old Flea Flicker single entry. These probably the only other time these fills is on Sunday morning. This is the $75 single entry Flea Flicker, sir. All right, I will go to results, NFL slates, and I will scroll back to week 16. Brandon Ayuk and his injuries coming out of Arizona State is going to cost Tyson some draft spots. I don't think so. That I would disagree with. I don't know if those two things are related. He did Tyson has an injured hamstring right now, which is gotta not be very fun. Hamstrings take forever to properly recover. All right, so we're picking at 11. Wow. Vidal Jefferson would be a nutted turn here. Let's see if we can get it. This guy's probably not going to let us, though. Vidal Genti could be really sick. Man, there are a lot of slates that I have to scroll back to get to the week 17 BR. But I bet Jefferson's in the winner. If he wasn't in the winner, I mean, I honestly do not remember, but if he wasn't in the winner with all those points, then what are we even doing? Christmas slate, Sunday main slate. All right. Oh, this dude's okay. He auto drafted Cook. I hope he auto drafts someone else right now, but he's not going to. I kind of like doing Ginty here. Yeah, I'm sure you had to go. I don't know. I don't know if you had to go Jefferson first. This guy's auto drafting, so that's the way it's going to play out. I guess if I had, it would have been the same result because this guy is auto drafting. Okay, you know what? We're doing Ashton Genty. You have to believe in something, and I do believe. All right, last year, week 16, winning BR. Oh, Justin Jefferson was not in the winning BR team with all those points. How about that? It was, well, is this week 16? Maybe this is week 16. This might be week 16, actually. Maybe I clicked on the wrong one. There you go. Week 16, Jaden Daniels, 36 points, Chuba Hubbard, 30, Jonathan Taylor, 39, Jamar Chase, 19, Jefferson, 31, Brock Bowers, 15. There you go. There is the last time that Justin Jefferson was. I wonder what was my best team? Anthony Richardson, Saquon, Hubbard, Jefferson, BTJ, Brock Bowers. Of course it was. Of course it was. Of course I could never find the shipper in the Justin Jefferson week. Sickening. Still have a little bit of coffee left. I think Mahomes and Allen are dropping 40 burgers. I mean, I hope you're right, bro. I hope you are correct. Well, Allen dropping 40 is it's probably not great for me at the end of the day. At least not for I did draft Anthony Richardson. I guess they don't have the drafted rate stuff. I assume if I was taking Anthony Richardson, he probably was a good pick though. Because I would have just drafted off of whatever the projections were. It was all Jaden Daniels. I don't even remember that game. Jaden Daniels with a lot of fantasy points last year. Remember Jaden Daniels, boys? Who remembers? How far a fall for Chuba? Sad but true, man. Poor Chuba. He got Wally pipped. Happens to the best of us. All right, Vidal and Ginty. I wonder. Hunter's not going to get back to me. Not drafting with you, Jamokes. I wonder what does Hunter have lines up on Underdog yet? Because I would be curious. Travis Hunter, there you go. 47 receiving yards, 4.5 receptions, 1.61 multiplier to score a touchdown. Lou Gehrig would know a lot about the Wally Pipp story. You're one of the few people who was there to document it in real time. Yeah, what's gonna happen to Anthony Richardson? Is Anthony Richardson going to reinvent his career? Is he going to go be a backup quarterback? Is he going to retire to focus on his music? What is the future for Anthony Richardson? Very, very curious question. Do you think the Toronto Argonauts would have him? Ooh, Logan Thomas, tight end. I think being a tight end requires a good amount of attention to detail. Trey Lance arc. The Trey Lance arc is honestly not even the saddest arc. The sadder arc for him is that he just basically quits football and just says like, this sucks and I don't want to do it anymore. Wally Pipp was a good player and won the 23 World Series. What he's not telling you is that it was the 1923 World Series. He'll be the Vikings quarterback next season to compete with McCarthy after McCarthy flops the rest of the season. Fields 2.0. I mean, Fields was better than he was on the field. Fields was better. Okay, well, we are about to get Slap King Summer here. And then the young man, wow, there you go, Travis Hunter. And then the young man behind us, Poppins J, is going to auto draft Justin Herbert and Xavier Worthy. Worthy would have been nice to pick, but what can you do? Could do a little scrolleration a wide receiver. There is. Wait, have we been talking about Anthony Richardson, the rapper? Anthony Richardson will be serving up David Kitchen some DQ blizzies. How good does a blizzy sound? I actually think he goes to the Rams and backs up Stafford while McVay tries to fix him. McVay, I don't know if McVay is into the reclamation project stuff. I guess he was with Baker. Big for Baker's career. Trey Lance looked great in the preseason. I mean, I know it was the preseason, but he did look awesome. All right. So he auto drafts Worthy. Another guy I like that's being underdrafted, I think. We got my boy T-Mac, Tedderoy McMillan. We can take Trevor Lawrence on this team. Yeah. All-time slap. It's a slappy week. Go watch week 9 thinking about DFS, the game by game preview, man. It's a slap week. You know, I regret to inform all of you. We got all the boys out. You know what I'm saying? We got Bowers, we got Hunter. Lots of good fantasy slap players this week. Yes, I also noticed this. The victory formation went from 564 entries and a $20 entry to 330. I do not mind 330. Exactly. Thank you, Nick. Only 2 more days until Brock Bowers shows why he's a grown man and the tight end 1. How slappy is it to draft Rice and Hunt in this? Honestly, not that slappy. I like that. I like what you're building there. T-Mac is the 2026 silent killer numero uno per BHO, Kevin. Yes, Bryce cannot throw outside the numbers, but Andy Dalton sure can, man. Andy Dalton loves to throw outside the numbers. Yes, there will be a Pick 'em YouTube short for tonight. I was just kind of waiting to see if nothing really looks that good to me. I think it'll probably be, I mean, I guess it'll be Flowers receiving yards, probably some Dolphins player under something. I don't know. Nothing like really like leapt out at me. So I need to get in the lab. I need to think. And we had a loser on Monday. And I don't like losers. I mean, the Debo rushing yards. He had a chance. He just didn't finish it. And you know, sometimes that's the way she goes. All right. So my options here. If I want to stack, it's going to be Lawrence. If I want someone unstacked, I guess it would be Nix. Maybe Purdy unstacked. We could do, I don't want another McCarthy team. I would actually prefer this team to win. Yeah. The only thing this team is missing somehow is Byshell Tootin and Aronde Gadsden. Yeah, Waddle unders, but like also, I don't know, maybe not. Maybe Tanner Connor unders or something. Tanner Connor unders could be good. Julian Hill unders. That's actually what I was searching for this morning that they didn't have. They did not have Julian Hill under anything. Nick Westbrook-Akeen unders. A lot of ways to go under if you think that there's going to be a real blowout here. Dulcich unders. Oh my God. Yeah, Dulcich unders would be good if they even post them, but I don't even know if they're posted. Maybe Dulcich hires. What if the move is Dulcich hires, brother? If you thought about that. Yeah, the thing is you can't even take Dulcich yards. Scroll Keaton Mitchell rushing yards. Yeah. All right. All the quarterbacks are going. I like that. I like Flowers 2 touchdowns. I am absolutely clicking a Dulcich under 0.5 yards. How many routes did he run last week? Greg Dulcich, our boy. He was not targeted. He played 19 offensive snaps. Not nothing for our boy. I would click higher Greg Dulcich 0.5 yards personally. But, you know, you and I, dude, we're built different. So last week, Dulcich played 19 snaps. Tanner Connor played 31. And someone who I've never heard of named Hayden Rucci played 11 snaps. All right. Oh, man. I mean, Kyle Pitts feels like a jam here. Am I wrong? Kyle Pitts against New England? Send it. Yeah, only Dulcich touchdown. Sometimes a little bit closer to lock. They will they'll pop one out. All right. Vidal, Genty, Travis Hunter, Tedroy McMillan, Kyle Pitts. We'll do Trevor Lawrence. I do think Penix is kind of sneaky. Totally undrafted Michael Penix. Why did the Packers draft Golden? So they didn't have to pay Christian Watson after this year, I think is what it's looking like, which is a bummer. All right, we'll finish this one and then we'll do a lottery pick 'em. So we'll take Trevor Lawrence. Our team is Kamani Vidal, Ashton Genty, Travis Hunter, Tedroy McMillan, Kyle Pitts, Trevor Lawrence. So good. That makes me feel warm inside. Yeah, I mean, if you just ignore the fact that slappy picks don't score fantasy points, they're all great. Lawrence, Vidal, Genty, Hunter, Tet, Kyle Pitts, slap it up. Now let's. Ooh, I have a rescue. Well, you know what? I'm not even going to use it. All right, boys. Yes, they only paid him a 1-year contract though. They didn't give him a big contract extension. Just 1 year. All right. Derrick Henry touchdown. Flowers higher receiver. You know what? Actually, Mark Andrews higher than 29.5 receiving yards. We're going to go Jalen Waddle lower than 12.75 fantasy points. We're going to do Isaiah Likely lower than 2.5 receptions. We are going to take Malik Washington. We're going to take Malik Washington. We're going to slide him up to 49.5. We're going to go lower. We are going to do Nick Westbrook-Akeen lower than 2.5 receptions. Keaton Mitchell higher than 24.5 rushing yards. We're going to do Cedric Wilson. We're going to do Tanner Connor lower than 13.5 receiving yards. And that's 8. We're going to place $5 on that. And that is our GPP lineup tonight. Yeah, but I agree. Imagine taking a 0 without style. Me personally, I cannot. All right. Pick 'em link is in the chat. Pick 'em link is in the description. We've got Henry to score a touchdown. Mark Andrews higher than 29.5 receiving yards. Jalen Waddle lower than 12.75 fantasy points. Isaiah Likely lower than 2.5 receptions. Malik Washington lower than 49.5 receiving yards. Nick Westbrook-Akeen lower than 2.5 receptions. Keaton Mitchell, little slider to 24.5 rushing yards. And Tanner Connor lower than 13.5 receiving yards. Bada bing, bada boom. Everyone, great stream. Love all you guys. Enjoy all you guys. We're going to go ahead and get out of here. Make sure you like the video. And as Garrick says, that 0 next to DJ Giddens is so much cooler than that 0